Cool. So this is really exciting for me and for everyone, I think, as well. So the next steps for the shot, which is something I'm not involved in as much because I don't know anything about anything like this. So the next steps are Lookdev for lighting and rendering, and this is by Alejandra and Jorg. I completely butchered the names, but I hope you forgive me. Um, so they're super talented and they have made some great progress to the shot, as you can see here. So this is, I'm going to just guess what this is. I think this is like look dev and rendering tests. So they put a lot of textures onto all the assets, and then they have like subsurface on the tiger, I guess, and the water just looks beautiful. Just want to go swim in that lake. And they have now fur for the tigress, and we're taking reference, or they were suggesting that we should do a golden tiger, which I totally agreed with because they are so beautiful. These are golden tigers, so they don't have as dark stripes as the normal tigers have. And here are some render tests of the environment and the water. It's very magical. So this is one like early test with and without motion blur. So the first one is without motion blur. The second one has motion blur on it. And then, so one thing which was the most feedback I got when I posted my shot online was that the camera didn't quite look realistic enough. So even though I did take it from a tracked camera, I changed up a little bit and added a little bit of like panning up and stuff to follow the tigress. And the most feedback I got was that it wasn't convincing as like a real camera, or like a real camera person wouldn't have made those decisions or wouldn't have moved that way. So I got some great feedback and some great suggestions. So one of them was to use your own phone to try to move like what you have in your shot. So I started like up high and then like zoomed in, like moving and following something, and then zoom out, come out, and then I would bring that track into Maya and then try to match all the jiggles and stuff and the delay in the camera. So one of the feedback was that when my tiger jumps, the camera follows too exactly, because I was just too attached to my animation to cut any of it off. But of course, that's something I have to sacrifice to get a realistic camera move, because obviously your camera is going to be a lot more delayed. So this is one thing I edited for the final render. So here you can see that it's a lot more janky, but I feel like it looks a bit more realistic. And then when she jumps, there's a much longer delay, so it cuts off a lot more of her body for a few frames, which I hope helps the issue a little bit. Let me know if it doesn't, and then I'll change it more.
So there's more handheld feeling to it, right? That was the
totally, yeah, totally.
Like doco almost.
Exactly, yeah. As if someone is like actually walking through the forest holding their camera.
Yeah, behind a tree or something, and just kind of.
Yeah. I hope it's working a lot better. Sorry?
Looks gorgeous. Nice one.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. And then this is really exciting. So they just sent this to me this morning, and it's the render of the fur. And I added, so before I had these spheres that were flying around her, but then I added actual moths to make it look a little bit better. And I just think it's really gorgeous. I just want to watch that again.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And they used Yeti fur system for this. I don't do a lot of fur, but I know that it's pretty solid in its simulation and stuff. It's not too hard to use. Of course, I don't use it, so I don't know really. But what I do know is that you can't render it in the US for some reason. So if you're in Canada, you can render it from Canada, but not in the US.
That is very nice.
Yeah.
To the jungle feeling, right?
Totally, yeah. I think it's great. And it has this kind of magical feel to it with the dappled light and all that.
Yeah.
And then just before I close off, I just wanted to share some great tools. These are just a few of the bunch I got when I asked what kind of tools people use, because I don't use any animation tools at the moment, but I do want to use some because it just helps with the workflow, and I've heard that like so many great stuff about them, how it like speeds up their work progress or process. And then just because I want to take this great opportunity to present and thank you guys so much for being here. And I just wanted to say that this means a lot to me because tigers are going extinct, and it's really sad. So the estimated amount of tigers left in the wild is just 3,000 to 3,600, which is very devastating. And you can see here like all the reasons for tigers losing their habitats, and the biggest reason is palm oil. So you can help by just not buying palm oil products, because it really destroys a lot of forests, rainforests where they live, and then illegal poaching, and then selling for medicine and stuff, which I really don't understand. I just hope that it stops at some point. And it's crazy that in Ontario it's legal to own a tiger but not legal to own a pit bull. Like something needs to change in the laws. It's crazy. And then if you're in the US, you can learn how to pass the Big Cat Safety Act. So this will protect big cats, any kind of big cats like tigers, lions, bobcats, blah, blah, anything. And then that it'll put a restriction on who can own these cats, which they should not be held captive at all, and how to keep them. So hopefully we can help that as well. And then very lastly, there's this new bill that will be passed, or they're trying to pass this weekend here in Canada, which will make it illegal to report animal cruelty on farms. So if you want to check that out and sign a petition to help not make this bill be a thing, you can click on the link below. That'll just help animals on farms, because we need to know what they're going through, and I think it's very important, and I hope it's important to you too. So yeah, I hope that's not too much of a downer. Thanks so much for attending.
That was great, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the palm oil and animal cruelty.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And as many of you know, like Eddie and I were both plant-based, and I just think that's a really, if you can like consider living a plant-based lifestyle, it's much better for yourself and the environment, I think.
Yeah, get on it. You're feeling great. And thank you for that presentation. That was amazing.
No, thank you so much for attending.
I can read out a few questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely.